Hi, I'm Kate Carney, and I'm going to tell you about a birthing experience. I don't know if when I lived in California, I was doing all the California things. And so one summer I did a month of work study at a place called Ethelyn, which is one of those feel-good places. And it's very classy. It's one of the earlier ones. And there was this Czech psychologist named Stanislav Grof, who had been brought over here by Timothy Leary to do research into LSD. And he was interested in liminal experiences, that is to say, birthing and dying. And when the feds said they couldn't do marijuana anymore, he said he had to find, he had to look around and find another thing. So he became interested in what would happen if you breathed heavy. And there were already in California a group of people who did something called rebirthing. Have any of you ever heard of that? Well, it's just basically hyperventilating, but he called it holonomic breathing and holonomic experiencing. And every Friday and Monday, those of us who were there as work study people could get an hour and a half or a 2-hour lesson with one of the big guns there. So it was sort of exciting, and we were taking this workshop with Stanislav Grof, and he explained what this is all about. And they played music very loud. And you worked with a partner, and my partner was a little teeny Swiss woman. And the very first time because we worked alternately, she worked on Fridays and I worked on Sundays. And the first time I did it, I remember pushing. I was right next to a wall. And then there was a wall down there. And I had my feet against that wall. And I was pushing against this wall. And I asked her to push against my back right here. And she couldn't hold me because I was pushing so hard. So I asked her to do it with her feet. So she held me there, and I just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed for about an hour and a half. And breathing heavily all this time. And the one thing I think I should tell you that I do know about my own birth, because I had forgotten to tell you this at the beginning, is that I knew that my birth had been induced because my mother's doctor was going to go to the World's Fair. And she did not want to have some other doctor delivering her baby. So he started the birth process a few days early so that he could go to the World's Fair. Well, in any case, to return to the pushing business, the little Swiss lady was about, a really small lady, so she would do her exercises and I could handle whatever she was doing physically, because you kind of go out of your mind. That is to say, you leave your mind. And you just are breathing and breathing and breathing, and the music is filling your consciousness, and you're not really there anymore. So on the then I did one, I don't know when of the time, I did one where I was pushing against the floor below me. I had people on both sides of me. So I was pushing against her feet with my shoulders. And that was very hard too, and that was fuller for me. That time I went floating along the California coast between Santa Cruz and LA, actually till Ventura. And it was as if I knew it all. I knew every little inland, San Luis Obispo, places like that. I knew everything down in there. It's gorgeous. But I'd never flown just above the waves. Well, anyway, the last time I was to do it, back I went onto the floor. There were people on either side of me. It was crowded. And I'm pushing against the floor, and all of a sudden it becomes, there's something going on inside. Some words are coming up. And I hear them, and I can't believe that I'm saying inside of myself. I'm saying Chicago World's Fair, Chicago World's Fair, Chicago World's Fair. And I don't know what this is about. And I'm just pushing and pushing, and I hear my Swiss lady say, "Can you help me?" Because I was pushing so hard with my shoulders, with my feet against the wall. And I pushed, and then I had to say it out loud. It was important that it get out loud. And then I was shouting it very loud. And I was sort of taking over the room, But I was pushing, and finally I knew that I was pushing hard enough that I got out. And they had heard me saying Chicago World's Fair. They said, what was that about? I said, I don't know. And then I remembered about my mother and the produced birth, and I said, I went quick to a dictionary or an encyclopedia or something, and I looked up when the Chicago World's Fair had been, and it was indeed in the year in which I was born. And so I had this remarkable experience. And then I was going back to New York, but I had to stop off in Wisconsin at the end of the summer to see some people and my family. And so we had a lunch. And then after we did the dishes, my mother and my aunt and I sat down at the kitchen table, and I told them this story. Now my mother is a little bit of a competitive person. And I finished this whole story, and I thought it was a smashing story. And my aunt is sitting there like, and my mother said, oh, that's nothing. Right after you were born, I heard, gee, it's good to be out. Gee, it's good to be out. And that's the story of the Chicago World's Fair.